get into Boston a little bit because I told you yesterday, Eric. I mean, I've watched them throughout the year. I've seen them grow. You know, starting from a higher seed, moving up to that second seed, and defensively, I watched them yesterday, and I said that is a championship type of team. Like, to me, when I look at the Eastern Conference, I have Boston coming out and going to the finals.
Ooh,
and that's with or without Tatum.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it because you think Philly's coming back, but even without him.
Yeah, my thing is, I think Tatum is the icing on the cake for this team. And I can tell by seeing Tatum on that bench last night, and kind of he's been with the team, he's been traveling with the team, he's coming back. I know he's not saying it right now, but I highly think he's coming back. But I think they're going to bring him back in a different way. It's not going to be the Tatum that you're used to, just go straight into starting and blah, 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 blah. I think he's going to be able to work his way back into this team coming off the bench, kind of how Pritchard's coming off the bench right now too. I think that is already paving the way for Tatum. That was a recent move that had Payton starting to come off the bench, and I think that was an intelligent, super smart move by Mazzulla, because he knows that his team is going to get back Tatum. And so, you're going to have to likely have Payton Pritchard coming off the bench and kind of bringing that spark plug there. And he's doing just that. And he is dominating. But man, I tell you, with or without him, this team plays hard. And when I look at the Eastern Conference, I love Detroit, but they're young and I don't trust them yet. New York, I don't trust Mike Brown. I don't trust the Knicks.
Ooh.
They feel like they falter every playoffs. And then now you have Mike Brown, and I don't think he's going to be able to win a 7-game series to get to the finals, right? He hasn't proven that yet. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to do that. And then when you look at any other seed, you got Boston, obviously, but then you got Cleveland. I don't trust James Harden in the playoffs. So that's 4 teams right there that you think, all right, those 4 teams are likely going to make it. And to me, Boston is the strongest team out there. And then on top of that, if you get Tatum back, watch out.
Yeah, it's hard to watch last night's game and say otherwise for sure. But we'll see. Obviously, I think Tatum has to, we've talked about it, he's got to come back pretty soon, because if it's not a lot of games, I could see it maybe going south with him coming back, not because they would be worse with him, but it's just they have a good thing going. And I don't think you're going to not have him come back if he's 100% healthy. If you're not going to have him come back if because you have a good thing going, that I totally get. But that's one thing to look out for. And then I'm kind of looking at the standings, right? So yeah, so they're pretty solidly, I guess, if that's a word. The 2 seed, right? I mean, I guess they could still fall back to the 3. So you figure 2 seed, they're going to probably play Miami or Orlando first round. You think they're going to win that one? Or you just said to the finals? I would say yes, right?
You said Miami or Orlando?
So is that
Jesus Christ. Who'd they play last year, Eric? Orlando? In the first round, it was a butt whipping.
That's
right. Come on.
Yep. So the way they're set up, they will have to go through New York and Detroit, and you kind of give some reasons as to why that may not be super tough, but I think the first round is going to be easy-ish, and then I think New York will be, even though Brown, I totally get it. I think New York I think they've beaten Boston pretty well, during this regular season. They obviously beat him in the playoffs last year. So I would say if there was one team that's kind of the kryptonite of Boston, is the Knicks. So I would say that's the one team. But against anybody else, Detroit is good, and I just think they're probably a year away. But wow, wouldn't that be something? Obviously we can even maybe kind of get right into the next topic, but obviously we know the MVP takes place before the regular season. When the regular season ends, but hypothetically, if it didn't and Boston made it to the finals, does that mean Jaylen Brown should be the MVP of this league?
I think he has a pretty damn good chance as of right now to get the MVP. And for the most part, that's because of injuries, to be honest with you, right? Like, I think, yes, SGA is probably still the front runner, but we don't know how long he's going to be out. He's played 49 games right now, and he's been out with an abdominal injury. But, with the 65-game rule, that essentially is likely going to rule out Joker. It's going to rule out Wemby because they can only miss one game each in order to make the award. And then when the other person that I'm thinking of that has a chance is more like Cade Cunningham, right? Like, because obviously what he's done with Detroit. But if I were going to give you an order right now, I got Jaylen Brown, SGA, Cade Cunningham. Because what Jaylen Brown has done to Boston, I don't think there's many players that can swap into that position and lead the team like he has to the second seed without Tatum. Like, I just don't see that really happening in this league right now. Say the Lakers just didn't have LeBron the whole year, right? I don't think they're nearly as good as a team without him, right? I mean, you can go to like tons of teams and do this, right? If Cat wasn't there in New York, I don't necessarily know if the Knicks are as good, right? They're probably not going to be the third seed. They're probably going to fall back a little bit. So I think he's doing a tremendous job, and he's going to get a good amount of votes because of that.
Yeah, he is gonna. I mean, I think I compared it earlier in the show to not that Tatum's like Michael Jordan, but technically like quote unquote their best player being out. Scottie Pippen had that was it like 94, 95 season? I think I was just looking it up. I thought he was a little bit higher, but he was like 5th in MVP votes, which is obviously the highest he's ever been.
Sure.
I think I saw that David Robinson and there was like Hakeem and a couple other guys that were there, Shaq. And so it kind of reminds me of that. I feel like kind of going back to the last topic too a little bit, there's also that like there's not a lot of pressure, right? So sometimes that's a little easier to kind of get through it, right? When there's no expectations, you kind of could just fly under the radar, and we'll see once that ramps up in the playoffs. And maybe that I don't know if it hurts Jaylen Brown, it really shouldn't. But yeah, I mean, I have SGA there. We'll see. The things with all these guys missing games, we know that Joker is so close to being ineligible. SGA, as long as he comes back soon here, he'll be fine. But if he tweaks something else, right? And so, Luka, I guess you got to put up there. But I mean, all the stuff that we just talked about on the Lakers, I don't think they're going to be getting an MVP out of kind of the season they're having.
Luka has to have like a 20-game stretch where his team dominates and they go like 17-3.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Right, like that's the only way like he gets close to being in consideration. Because I'm not putting him over Cade. I'm not putting him over Jaylen Brown. I'm not putting him over SGA.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Jaylen Brown has like the last couple of weeks, especially like, there's like a marquee game like against like the Lakers, nationally televised game.
Yeah.
You shouldn't win or lose a MVP on one game, but I feel like that's like actually kind of really gotten his name out there more, to be honest.
True.
Last night, you're hearing a lot more chatter about it today than you have all year long, right? And sometimes that's what it takes. And so I'm just kind of looking at like the odds, like obviously like. And then Wembanyama, he's can only miss a game, right? You said, or a game or two.
Yeah, I mean, I think on this odds they got right here, they got Jaylen Brown at plus 5,000, which I feel like is a hell of a bet. Because they still got Joker up there so high, but there's no way Joker. I mean, he could not miss a game, but I'm saying there's a high chance that maybe he misses one or two. So I would take that bet in a heartbeat.
It looks like, it kind of seems like they're thinking if all else fails, it's going to be maybe Cade Cunningham, which would be pretty crazy. Yeah. So that's kind of what it looks like. But I don't know if they have some matchups coming up at all, but that could factor in too. But
into it. Yeah.
Nonetheless, it's one of the more open MVP kind of conversations that we've had in a while.
Yeah, it will be interesting. And I think they just need to get rid of that stupid ass rule of 65 games and just, I mean, obviously if a player's injured and they play 40 or 50 games, they're not going to be going for any of these awards. Like that's just obvious. So like, I don't know whether it's 60 or 65, you need to play. Like, you'll know if a player has missed that many games, likely their team is not that good, right? Like, you don't see a team is going to play 40 something games and like their team is going to be first place. I highly doubt that, right? And that's, you're not going to give that person an MVP vote anyways. So I think they just need to get rid of it because it's affecting people's money and it's affecting how voters are going to vote.
Yeah, they tried to obviously put that in for to keep players from sitting out and load management and all that. And so, and I think in most years it probably wouldn't really be talked about a lot, but in a year like this year where there's been some injuries, we're kind of realizing how dumb the rule is, and I would imagine that'll be changed.